So in this video, we are going to see about the ligaments and some structures related to the shoulder joint and blood supply and the nerve supply. Let us take a look on the ligaments first. So the first ligament we are going to see is the capsular ligament. You can see this is the capsular ligament. Actually, it is a very loose ligament covering the shoulder joint and permits free movements. Before looking into its attachment, I would like to discuss an important thing. So the capsular ligament is least supported inferiorly. So inferiorly it is least supported, that is, it is not supported by any other structures, or no other structures cover the capsular ligament inferiorly, right? So, and of course there is a recess inferiorly, that is nothing but the extension of the capsular ligament. I'll show that in a picture. So you can see here there is some extension of the capsular ligament inferiorly, and it is called as the axillary recess. So what is the importance of the axillary recess? Axillary recess is nothing but a redundant fold that is extending inferiorly from the capsular ligament. So it helps mainly in the abduction of shoulder joint. That is, when we move our arm away from our body, it is very helpful. It promotes flexibility of the joint and promotes easy movements of the joint. So clinically, how it becomes important? So with a prolonged disuse of the arm, the axillary recess may become obliterated, or it becomes atrophic, right? Atrophic. So on prolonged disuse of arm, the axillary recess becomes atrophic. So what happens? It limits the movement of the arm. So now coming to the attachments. So first let us see about the medial attachment of the capsular ligament, how it is medially attached. So the capsular ligament is attached to the scapula medially. You can see here it is attached to the scapula medially, and of course it is just beyond the supraglenoid tubercle. So I will show that in another diagram. So you can see it extends from the anatomical neck of the humerus and goes beyond the supraglenoid tubercle. Here is the supraglenoid tubercle. It goes beyond the supraglenoid tubercle and then gets attached with the scapula. So you can see here, this is the supraglenoid tubercle, and this is the glenoidal labrum, that is the lip of the articular surface, that is the glenoid cavity. So what happens? So arising from the surgical neck of the humerus, the ligament, the capsular ligament, just attaches beyond the supraglenoid tubercle like this. It attaches beyond the supraglenoid tubercle to that of the scapula. In this picture, I am just showing about the medial attachment. So then coming to the lateral attachment. So laterally, the capsular ligament, it is attached with the anatomical neck of the humerus. You can see here, it extends from here like this. So it extends from the anatomical neck like this, with some exceptions with respect to the inferior and the superior aspect. So inferiorly, it extends just up to the surgical neck of the humerus. So beyond that, it does not extend. So and superiorly, it is deficient, leaving some space for the tendon of the long head of biceps to go through. So it extends like this, and on the medial side, it gets attached with the scapula, just beyond the supraglenoid tubercle and beyond the glenoidal labrum, right? Then coming to the anterior aspect, as I already said that the joint capsule, that is the capsular ligament, is reinforced on all sides except at the inferior position, and of course there is an axillary recess in the inferior position. Apart from that, anteriorly it is reinforced by three bands of ligaments. They are called superior glenohumeral ligament here, superior, middle and inferior glenohumeral ligaments. So anteriorly it is reinforced by these three bands of ligaments: superior glenohumeral ligament, middle glenohumeral ligament and inferior glenohumeral ligament. Within these ligaments the joint capsule lies, right? So the area between the superior and middle glenohumeral ligament, again it's a point of weakness. That is, dislocation is more common in the anterior portion, and of course that too in between the superior and middle glenohumeral ligaments. And this area is called as foramen of Whitebridge. And also remember one thing, that anterior dislocation is more common and it accounts for about 95 to 97% of shoulder joint dislocation. And another thing, the joint capsule on the whole, it is lined by the synovial sheath, and one of the extensions of the synovial sheath is the intertubercular synovial sheath. Accommodates the tendon of long head of biceps brachii. So consider this as the tendon of long head of biceps brachii. It will be accommodated by the intertubercular synovial sheath, which is the extension of the synovial sheath lining the joint capsule. This ligament is the transverse ligament of humerus. You can see in this picture the transverse ligament of humerus. It actually bridges the bicipital groove, and the bicipital groove is also called as intertubercular sulcus or groove, right? So actually the intertubercular synovial sheath, and within that the tendon of long head of biceps brachii passes through, right, through the intertubercular sulcus. So what happens, this transverse ligament of humerus just bridges the bicipital groove or intertubercular sulcus. So under that the tendon of the biceps brachii and also the intertubercular synovial sheath passes through. Ligament is the coracohumeral ligament. You can see in this picture the coracohumeral ligament. Actually, it extends from the root of the coracoid process. I will mark and show. You can see here, from the root of the coracoid process, and extends till the anatomical neck of the humerus. So this coracohumeral ligament also gives strength and support to that of the joint capsule. The next ligament is the glenoidal labrum. Why so? It is also included under the ligaments. So first of all, we must know the definition of a ligament. It is just a supporting structure which just stabilizes the joint, right? Ligaments are nothing but the supporting structures which stabilizes the joint. So in that way, the glenoidal labrum, it stabilizes the joint by deepening the glenoidal cavity. It deepens the glenoidal cavity, and thereby it also stabilizes the shoulder joint, and that's what it is also included under the ligament of the shoulder joint. And another important thing is the labrum is that is the glenoidal labrum is a fibrocartilaginous structure. So these are all the ligaments of the shoulder joint. I'm just making the list of the ligaments supporting the shoulder joint. First one is the joint capsule, that is the capsular ligament. Then anteriorly the joint capsule is supported by the glenohumeral ligaments. Of course, there are three number, namely the superior, middle, and inferior glenohumeral ligaments. The next is the transverse ligament of humerus. And then coracohumeral ligament, this transverse ligament of humerus just bridges the bicipital groove, and this coracohumeral ligament extends from the root of the coracoid process to that of the anatomical neck of the humerus. Then it is the glenoidal labrum, which stabilizes the shoulder joint just by deepening the glenoidal cavity. So these are all the ligaments of the shoulder joint.